Hi everyone, welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be doing a first impression. This is a brand from Thailand. They're called Siam 1928. I was curious about this brand primarily because of their presentation. They have these beautiful porcelain bottles with artwork painted on the front. I just thought they looked cool and I wanted to try them out, so I went to their website. I purchased some samples myself. They very kindly gave me a couple of extra ones for free. And yeah, we're going to be talking about basically first impressions. Two of these fragrances I'm not going to mention in this video because I've just done full reviews of them. And that includes these two, Nari, Vimala and Chappaya, Putta. I reviewed both of these, so if you want to hear thoughts on these two, please check out the previous video. I'll link it up at the top. I did full reviews of these. So we're going to start with the first one, which is called Dimlight. This is actually in a different presentation. This is not in the porcelain bottles. So this one has notes of rum, cardamom and cedarwood with sandalwood, vanilla, tobacco and almond. The spray on the samples are actually very good. For a spray, it's very good. It's not so alcoholic boozy. It's a kind of a more of a sweet, slightly sweet boozy-ish kind of vibe. It reminds me a little bit of, maybe a little bit actually of Coca-Cola in a way. There's, yeah, kind of a little bit. It's not like photorealistic rum. It's somehow smells a little bit more like Coke, but not like a fresh bottle of Coca-Cola. It's more like cola sweets. If you ever had the kind of cola bottle gummy sweets, I get like opening up a packet of gummy cola bottles. The cardamom is quite a light touch and you get this feeling of soft woods behind. But in the opening, it's kind of this, again, cola-like sweetness. I think the tobacco comes through. You get that kind of smooth, slightly sweet, like a vanilla sweet tobacco. And as I breathe it in there, I got a little bit of the cardamom coming through. It comes across a little bit more masculine, although I think a woman could wear it just fine. But from the women that I know, generally speaking, I would think that a few of them would probably say this leans a little bit more masculine than feminine. It comes across cold weather, autumn, winter, more of a nighttime fragrance. I quite like it. It smells good. Next up, we've got Criollo, and this I think is also from the same range in the fragrances with a different bottle. This one has notes of coffee and plum with dark chocolate and raspberry, jasmine, honey, patchouli and tonka. From the top note, what I smell the most is the chocolate accord. You get a definite sense of chocolate. I think you get hints of this kind of more roasted, maybe like an espresso note, a dark coffee. It's not milky, it's like dark black roast coffee beans with dark chocolate. This could be very unisex. I can imagine a woman or a man wearing this. Maybe a little bit more grown up, a little bit more mature. Again, cold weather, autumn, winter, nighttime. I think if you like darker, more dark, rich kind of thick fragrances, obviously with those kind of notes of coffee and chocolate, you might like this one. I think if I smelled this someone in passing, it would intrigue me. I would ask what they're wearing. I'll be curious about it. It's not too sweet. It's not too cloying. It's actually a little bit light on the paper, like it wouldn't be too heavy on the skin, which I think is nice. I think you do pick up a little bit on the honey as well. Just an extra kind of hint of sweetness to it. As I smell it a little bit longer on the test strip, I'm getting a little bit more of that kind of dark coffee note coming through. This is nicely blended. I like it. I think it smells good. If you like coffee and chocolate, that'll be one you want to get a sample of. Next up, we are going with one called Chanalaj, apologies for the pronunciations, neroli and hyacinth with mandarin, lotus and ylang ylang, water, musk and vanilla. It is floral, like the notes would suggest it is. I feel like the hyacinth maybe is the stronger floral out of that combination. The neroli gives it a clean kind of soapiness almost, but this hyacinth note is a little bit sweet. It's got this slightly meaty texture, a little bit like when you smell tuberose. It has that kind of thick, chewy petal kind of smell. You definitely get the impression of this kind of watery, musk-like quality to it, but centered around these floral accord. Ever so slightly sweet. Very, I would say this is unisex, leaning on the feminine for obvious reasons, with it being more focused on the florals. There's loads of men that would happily wear this and pull this off absolutely fine. In the general population of normal dudes, so to speak, who don't collect niche fragrances, they're probably going to think that this smells a little bit feminine because it does smell flowery. So from a first impression, it comes off quite easy to wear. There's no massive dose of sweetness to it. It smells maybe a little bit minimal, kind of chilled out, relaxed, minimal. It's not trying too hard to be something exotic. It's just easy to wear, a nice floral accord. I can imagine it being maybe something in like a Le Labo range, for example, in terms of the quality of the blending and smell and stuff. I would say reminds me maybe a little bit of Le Labo. On a personal taste basis, it's not something I would wear myself. It's not something I'd be I wouldn't be overly attracted to it on a woman. It's not probably my cup of tea personally, but there's no indolic kind of vibe to it. It's a clean floral. It's just maybe not my personal taste. Next up, we've got Mekha Aranya. Again, apologies for all the pronunciations here. This one uses notes of aldehyde and osmanthus with honey, leather, musk, and sandalwood. This one is ever so slightly animalic in the opening. There's something just a bit funky to it, but there's also this kind of watery texture. It's like, it actually reminds me of a Xerjoff fragrance called Ether, which is in the Chemi line, the K line. So Xerjoff K, and I think it was called Ether. And it has this watery animalic opening that I'm getting a vibe of from this, which is interesting. It is kind of different, but it for me, it does have a little bit of something that's just a bit barnyard kind of funk, barnyard manure kind of goat hair thing. It's not too strong. It's like a nuance of something that, like an it's all, I would say, more indolic floral, but that's, yeah, a little bit barnyardy, almost tobacco-y as well in a way. I'm not sure what's causing that. Maybe it's the combination of notes. It could be maybe the leather's a little bit funky, maybe the animalic's coming from the honey. Honey can be a little bit funky sometimes. The osmanthus could be playing a role, but it's interesting. I don't dislike it. It's not something I would probably wear myself. It's very unisex, a man or a woman, I think, dressed up or casual, but it's a fragrance that is a more of a unique, specific kind of taste. It's maybe a little bit polarizing. I think people are either going to love it or they're going to quite dislike it. It's going to have a wide reaction, I would say, with this one. There's something about the way that it mixes that has a little bit of a vibe of tobacco, even though it's not in there. And it would be like a wet tobacco. Imagine a cigar that's kind of dropped into the water. And you got this kind of watery, soggy kind of cigar in the background of it. I think it's interesting. I'd be curious to see how this one goes on skin. Next up, we have Viroopaksa, and this has notes of saffron and bergamot with honey and osmanthus again, leather again, Thai oud, sandalwood, and vanilla. I can smell the honey almost immediately. It's a dark, slightly animalic honey. A little bit, yeah, it's intense. I get a lot of honey, a dark, slightly funky honey. I think it's mixing with that osmanthus. I personally find this a little bit sickly. I feel like it's mixing with kind of a little bit of a rough kind of leather note. So I'm getting a dark, sickly honey that's a little bit animalic with this almost dusty kind of floral. Sweet, dusty floral with this a little bit rough kind of leather. It's intense, very intense. For me, this comes off a little bit cloying for my own taste because of the honey is just a bit too intense. For me, I would say this is a little bit of a challenging fragrance. I think a little bit daring. Not going to be everyone's taste, not everyone's cup of tea. I think you get maybe a glimpse of the woodiness of the oud. For me, the focus seems to be the honey with this animalic edge. Very dark, very autumn, winter, cold weather. Powerful. It might be a little bit off-putting for the ladies. It's not the most feminine kind of smell. Generally speaking, I would say it's unisex, but it might appeal to the men a little bit more because it's a little bit aggressive. It's an interesting blend. I find it interesting. For me, it's a little bit cloying or a little bit too sickly. Just a little bit too intense. That kind of very, very dark, slightly animalic honey. Definitely not a safe blind buy. You definitely have to try a sample of it. I think an acquired taste, but an interesting blend. And last up, we have Sandport. And this one uses notes of orange and cannabis with grapefruit, hop, passion fruit, wheat, vetiver, and patchouli. I can smell the sour and bitterness of the grapefruit, and you get a hint of this kind of green, leafy, slightly funk kind of green. It doesn't smell overly strong of like raw cannabis. I have actually a neighbor across there that smokes cannabis quite regularly and blows it out of his attic roof, and if I have my window open, it tends to waft into my room when he's smoking it. So I am familiar with how cannabis smells in the air when it's smoked. It doesn't smell like weed, it doesn't smell like cannabis, but you get this bitter, sour grapefruit notes and this, green accord, I guess. I think the passion fruit gives it this kind of watery kind of sweetness to it. A little bit tropical, watery sweetness. The patchouli is probably helping it make it even more greener in the base. On a personal taste level, this isn't my personal taste. I'm not attracted to it myself. It's maybe a little bit of a clashing combination. This bitter kind of sour citrus with these kind of darker herbal green tones is an interesting contrast, but it's not something that pleases me personally. I think it would be good for the springtime. It smells quite unisex, a man or a woman. Maybe I would say a bit more casual. It's an interesting blend, but it's not my personal taste. That's my first impressions. We've obviously missed two here that I've just done full reviews for, so if you want to check those out, the link is in the description and tagged as a suggested video at the end, and a note on the top if you want to hear my full reviews of those two. And yeah, altogether, I think it's an interesting brand. I think the presentation is very beautiful. I think they do a fantastic job with their branding, and their bottle image and everything is super cool. The perfumes themselves, they've got a range of different kind of profiles. I think there's something for everyone. I think it's quite interesting. As a brand, I'd quite like to smell a little bit more from them. It was a little bit expensive shipping these over from Thailand, but I'm glad I got to try some of these. I'll be definitely wearing them out on skin and including them in full reviews later as time goes on. If you tried this brand, let me know your favourites in the comments if you would. And thanks for watching. Please do leave a comment, it really helps the channel. And I will see you again with some more videos. Take care and have a good day. Bye everyone.
Old man Harlem gives me Sunday headache, but that old man Harlem keeps me rolling on.